Okay. So what things do you do on a daily basis to prevent yourself from being sexually assaulted?
I haven't really thought about it.
Well, I'm not very...
Hey guys, welcome back to That Other F Word, or should I welcome myself back to my own show because I've been AWOL for a month, but this is not for nothing. I have some awesome news to share with all of you. I have been creating and working on and filming big things with my new friend Jeff Watkins. Seriously, if you're in the Ottawa area and you need a videographer, look him up. He will make your dreams come true. And these are things that I never thought I would ever be able to create, but here we are today. So what do I have in store for you guys? Well, it's pretty damn awesome. It is a 3-part series, so 3 videos on the topic of how fear of sexual assault and harassment shape everyday life. Now I'm gonna tell you about all the cool things that are coming at the end of this video, but you don't wanna miss all the shenanigans that happen in the middle of this video. This video is part 1 of the 3-part series, so stay tuned. So before we get into it today, I just wanna make one thing super clear. These videos are meant to highlight the problems women face in everyday life in their dynamic with heterosexual men. And this is not to denounce or deny the problems that men face in their own life, or the problems that the LGBTQ community face. It's just to address one pressing problem at a time. These next 3 will be specifically addressing the everyday decisions that women make in their lives, the reasons behind why these decisions are made, and what the results look like in real life. So without further ado, let's get to it. Growing up as girls, we learn a lot of tips and tricks to avoid or protect ourselves and our friends from this potential but very real threat, the threat of being sexually assaulted. You know, they say things like, don't go out late at night, don't go out by yourself, don't put your headphones in, even dress modestly, although we know that has nothing to do with it. So to set up this 3-part conversation, I wanted to show how this threat affects the everyday life of men and women. So I'm gonna go to Rideau Mall, OttawaU, and Lieutenant's Pump, ask random strangers 4 questions, and see what they say. So I hope you're ready, because I am definitely not. Okay, so what things do you do on a daily basis to prevent yourself from being sexually assaulted?
I guess as a woman, we do a lot of things to sort of prevent that from happening without being aware that we take certain buses, get home at a certain time, avoid certain places.
It didn't come to my mind, but I try not to go at night, but that's more to not avoid getting robbed or mugged.
Especially walking at night, even though it's like a crowded street that I live on, I like to hold my keys in my hand.
Like always walk with my keys in between my hands.
Yeah. Walking in busy streets.
I will always like walk down a busy street.
I'm not very conscious about it. I don't generally think about that when I go out. I do think about other people's well-being when that happens, but it's not really constantly in my mind.
I like to listen to music, but since I had someone follow me home one time on Rideau, so now I don't listen to music anymore and kind of look around.
If I'm walking alone at night, like I won't listen to my music really loud and like check around.
I feel like it's like mostly female students that get sexually assaulted. And the school provides foot patrol for them to, for everyone to make sure that everyone gets home safe.
I always like ask my girlfriend, well, any of my friends to text me when they get home and like they do the same for me.
Myself personally, I think because really as a guy you don't really think about it. It's not something you have to think of. It's as sad as it is, we like don't, you know. A guy can be sexually assaulted, but it's not something that the average guy on a regular basis thinks about. I don't know.
Have you seen sexual harassment or assault take place? And if so, where?
That's like,
I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
I can't really think of it at the top of my head because I don't really frequent parties or things like that, or clubs.
So
I have seen it
assume...
at concerts.
I'm trying to think if I have. I don't think so.
Typically at bars, popular places where like colleges are set and universities are, and like there's a lot of places where a lot of people are drinking, and people tend to like just be belligerent about it.
Like I've heard people say things just like to passersby. Thankfully, I don't think I've ever seen a sexual assault.
Okay. So I most recently was working in Malawi for a Canadian NGO, and women are just treated differently, but also like understanding what people classify as sexual harassment is also subjective and like can be subject to like kind of cultural differences.
Like you can see it honestly. You can go to a bar, you can see people like just like eyeing people. Like you can tell that they're looking. You can see the look in their eye.
Yeah.
You can feel it. You can feel the harassment. Like if you're conscious about it, you're not intoxicated. You're just a person going into a drunk environment. You can see all the disgusting stuff that happens.
And I don't think that that's unique to Malawi. Like I've seen like sexual harassment like take place here, like when you go into a bar at night, like everywhere, like in the workplace too, subtly.
But you see it all the time when you go out and stuff. You see a girl most of the time being pursued when they don't feel like being pursued, and they kind of are too nice or too agreeable to say otherwise.
As well, it's so normalized that even if I had seen it on other occasions where I wasn't more conscious of it, maybe that's why it's not coming to my mind.
What have you done, or what can you do to stop it?
I mean, if it's happening in front of you, obviously, like, say something about it without coming across too abrasive. Like, if it's something like a guy's flirting with a girl and she feels uncomfortable, then maybe not butt in like headshot and be like, "Oh, stop this!" Like nothing crazy is going on. But if it's something that's more, extreme, obviously, report it to somebody.
I mean, when you're out at a bar, hopefully all the girls do this.
Yes.
But just making sure that all your friends are okay, especially if they're dancing with people. That look a little sketchy.
Yeah, I haven't seen it happen firsthand already, but I think a first good step is calling it out.
I think it's like easy to say like, oh, like call it out. Like it also could be quite hard because it could be like a friend or like that's joking around and stuff. But I think that like is what you have to do. Be like, why do you think you talk to me in that way? Like, would you talk to your mother in that way? Would you talk to your sister in that way? Like,
No, just all the stuff they teach you. So like, if you're at a party, get your own drink. Talking to someone, using the buddy system.
I think just like people being more conscious about it, I guess more educated too. And like how they're brought up.
Or just like if you see like a situation on the wall, if you feel safe, like interject yourself there, because sometimes people get scared if like there's somebody else. Like
You want to have people on the same page for it to happen at all. But we don't remember things.
Looking out for each other, that's really all I do.
That's perfect. That
And
is
carrying the keys.
So you've seen all the answers, what do you notice? So from the first question right away, we see that girls do a ton of things to live their lives around this threat, to avoid it. There were so many different responses from them, actually answering the question, what things do you do on a daily basis to prevent yourself from being sexually assaulted? Whereas the guys' response was usually, we don't really think about it, doesn't really pertain to us. So right off the bat, we see an imbalance in the level of freedom men and women have in their daily lives. And that's really what feminism is about, right? Addressing the disparity. And another interesting thing that we're going to talk about in the last video of this series is that 1 in 6 males will also experience sexual assault or abuse at some point in their lives. So what are possible reasons behind what we see culturally in terms of how differently men and women live their lives in the face of this threat? And this really relates to the second question, because what we saw from their answers is that sometimes it's difficult to think of times when we've seen sexual harassment and assault. And for something so prevalent, it kind of begs the question, why is it so difficult to spot? And it could be for a few reasons. Do they know the difference between sexual assault and harassment? Are they someone who pays attention to their surroundings? Or is this behavior something that's done privately or is hushed up after? Or, like one of the girls said, is it just so normalized that it no longer turns our heads? And again, all of this will be discussed in the third video of the series. As for the third question, I really like the answers. They mostly revolved around calling it out. And it doesn't have to be aggressively. Stepping in if you feel safe to do so and just sort of removing the person from that situation. And actually just to be conscious of your environment, because if you know that it happens but you don't see it, then how can you stop it? So that's all for today. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end. What's coming out in March is something I am so incredibly proud of. It is a short film that highlights the difference between what it's like for girls to go out for a night out versus guys. And I just can't wait to share it with you, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can see it in all its glory the second it's released. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at that other F word without an O, because apparently somebody already took that. Other than that, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the content of this video, so comment below, and I'll see you in March.